Developers are no longer writing everything manually. AI agents are becoming their coding partners. And this is one of the biggest shifts happening in software engineering right now. Hello everyone, myself Muthukrishna Lalapet, working as tech lead, 4 times UiPath MVP with 7 plus years of experience in RPA, Generative AI and Agentic Automation. Earlier, developers had to spend huge amount of time to run these repetitive codes, fixing bugs, making tests, adding logs, running tests, handling deployments, and maintaining documentation manually. But today, AI coding agents are changing that entire workflow. Tools like Cloud Code, Copilot, Cursor, and Codex can now understand natural language instructions, inspect a project, make code changes, run validations, and even they can help in deployment of these tasks. Now, in general, we'll get a question that will these AI coding agents replace developers? The answer is no. The real value is that coding agents will absorb this repetitive engineering work and things like small bugs, validations, testing, documentation, etc. While developers can focus on architecture, security, business logic, and innovation. So instead of writing everything manually, developers are now collaborating with these AI agents to build software faster and smarter. And this is exactly where UiPath is bringing their coding agents into enterprise automation. And in our upcoming sessions, we'll exactly understand what these coding agents are and how to use them with UiPath CLI and all these with simple examples. Now let me start with a simple question. How much time do developers actually spend building innovation? And how much time do they spend doing repetitive engineering work like fixing small bugs or adding logs, running tests, and doing deployment steps, or at the end after completing the entire development, how much time will they spend on documentation and for configuration, right? So in many of these projects, a huge amount of developer time goes into these repetitive tasks instead of solving real business problems. And that's exactly why AI coding agents are becoming one of the biggest revolutions in software engineering today. And in this video, we will understand what exactly coding agents are, some of the common use cases for these coding agents, and then the reality check, and why this matters for enterprises. And at the end, we will close this video with a transition to UiPath. So what are coding agents? Coding agents can convert natural language instructions into actual software changes. Let's say you give a prompt in natural language, like I need code for this particular use case. It will actually give you a real world software. So an agent which can code for you. Instead of manually writing every line of code, developers can now collaborate with AI agents to build, test, and improve applications faster. So these are the core capabilities of any coding agent. So they can understand project structure and code base, and they can generate and modify the existing code. They can run tests and they can validate also, and they can debug and fix issues if there are any. They can also create developer reviewable code changes. Also, they can assist you with deployment and DevOps tasks as well, right? So these coding agents, they don't just write code, they can operate systems as well. Now let's see what is a coding agent actually is. So in Visual Studio IDE, you already have a coding agent. Let's say you want to build a Python project. All you have to do is simply type, give me Python project to generate text from voice, right? So if you click on enter, so Visual Studio will analyze your prompt, and then by that it will generate folder structure, it will generate code, it will even create a requirements txt and everything for you. Okay, so it generated everything. So all I need to do is click on keep, and then now you see you have a folder created, and then here you have examples as well, main.py, gui.py, readme.md, and then here you can see it also gave like how to install dependencies, how to run GUI interface, or how to use CLI, right? So this is a coding agent for Visual Studio IDE. So in similar way, there are other coding agents as well. example, so you can see we have Cursor, we have Cloud Code, we have Codex, we have Copilot, which we have GitHub Copilot, and etc. Right? So these are the best coding agents that are already available in the market. And now here's the quick question: so will these coding agents work for UiPath projects? So let's see. Now let's ask the Visual Studio's coding agent to generate a UiPath project, which takes a city name as an input, and then go to a weather report website and then get the weather report. Right? Now let's see how it will create. So take input as city name, go to any weather report website, give output, give the weather report as output. Right? Let's see. This might create a UiPath project as well. As you can see, it started to create main YAML, the project JSON, etc. So now it created. So I'll just click on keep. It's created the test cases as well. Then it created workflow activities, process flow, everything. So if you see here, UiPath Weather project. So this is my UiPath Weather project created by the coding agent. Now the problem comes when I want to deploy this UiPath project into Orchestrator, right? So it can Python project can be deployed using any pipeline, DevOps pipeline. But how about UiPath project, right? So if I ask Visual Studio Code to deploy this project to Orchestrator, you see it already mentioned that it can create comprehensive deployment files to help you deploy this project to UiPath Orchestrator, but it cannot directly publish this project to Orchestrator. So it gave me a deployment guide. So how to do that? Like go to URL and then open the project, click on publish, etc. Right? And why is this happening? So this directly cannot work with UiPath projects because these are not platform wide, right? So this coding agent is specific to Visual Studio Code, and these cannot interact with UiPath platform surfaces, right? And also these coding agents are powered only by top tier LLM, which are not very effective. And this is exactly why UiPath came up with UiPath CLI. It's a UiPath platform's coding agent, which can build, it can also validate, it can also test, and then it can at the end it can also deploy the same project into UiPath Orchestrator. Right? Now let's see how UiPath is making its platform agent native, meaning AI coding agents can naturally work with entire UiPath ecosystem. So they not just generate code, they can also build, deploy, troubleshoot, and govern these enterprise automations, right? So UiPath mainly have three layers. First layer is called platform toolchain. So UiPath exposes its platform capabilities through CLI tools and also APIs, so that coding agents can interact with the platform directly. Normally, developers manually use Studio, Orchestrator, APIs, infrastructure operations, and deployment tools, right? But now with platform toolchain, UiPath allows AI coding agents to access these capabilities directly through the platform toolchain. So with this, what coding agents can do with platform agent, what can UiPath coding agents can do? They can discover projects, They can build, package, publish, troubleshoot, and also manage deployments. So, in simple words, UiPath is giving coding agents hands-on access to the entire automation platform. To entire automation platform. So that's our first layer called platform toolchain. Now the second layer, which is called skills, schemas, and context. Right? So in this layer, UiPath teaches AI coding agents how UiPath works. Right? Teaches AI coding agents how UiPath works. Right? General AI coding agents understand programming, right? But they don't naturally understand UiPath projects, orchestrated resources, automation conventions, and process structures, right? So as we saw in Visual Studio IDE, it was able to generate code for Python, but when it comes to UiPath, it may generate these XAMLs, but then if you open those XAMLs in UiPath Studio, they might not be that accurate, right? And that's why UiPath introduced this layer called skills, schemas, and context, right? So what do I mean by skills, schemas, and context? So firstly, skills. So skills are nothing but training instructions for AI agents, and schemas, structured understanding of UiPath artifacts. UiPath artifacts. And finally, context. So context is nothing but project or business understanding. And with this, and this layer helps coding agents in understanding UiPath projects, interpret process documentation, manage orchestrator resources, and generate automation solutions. So that's about skills, schemas, and context. So in simple words, again, it is like giving enterprise automation knowledge directly into AI agent's brain. And the final layer is of course about governance. So UiPath ensures coding agents work securely inside enterprise, enterprises or enterprise boundaries. So one of the biggest enterprise concerns with AI agents is of course governance and security, right? So UiPath solves this thing. UiPath solves this using role-based access. So if you are already aware of UiPath orchestrator and different access related things, you might already know what is a role-based access. So every um, every specific tool access will be defined by roles. So if you are a developer, you will get certain level of access. If you are administrator, you will get full access. So like that, UiPath already solves this using role-based access. Also audit logging. So you'll have a clear logging mechanism, sandbox environments. Instead of developing everything in live or production, you'll have sandbox environments to test it. Authentication scopes, and finally rollback or checkpoint. If something goes wrong in further levels, you can always roll back. Right? So these are the three layers. Now let's get back to our slides again. So what are the common use cases of these coding agents, right? So mainly these are used for code reviews. So let's say you built UiPath project and then you want to quickly review the coding standards like the argument or variable convention and then exception handling mechanisms, etc. You can use coding agents directly, telling that you can connect to your project and then you can ask a quick review, right? And then bug detection and fixing, right? So currently, it may not solve very complex bugs, but then like simple ones, like if you missed to declare an argument or you forgot to change the scope of a variable. So these kind of things it can detect and then can fix also. And coding agents can also create APIs and integrations at the end. Once you're done with complete development of your project, it can also generate documentation, and if you want to refactor the existing code, it can also do that. As I mentioned above, in the code reviews, like in code review it will detect, and additionally if required it can also add logs, retry mechanisms and exception handling. And at the end you can also automate the complete deployment of these workflows. Now let's do some reality check. So after seeing all these new developments, we may have one common question, like will these coding agents will replace the developers, right? So of course they cannot replace developers. So the real value will be in reducing the repetitive work. Also they'll like help you in accelerating the development cycles. Also they'll improve the developer productivity, and this doesn't mean like it will completely replace a developer. So agents can also fix bugs. They can also help in testing documentation, and they can also help in writing repetitive coding tasks. And this will allow humans to still make critical decisions around, like to decide on architecture, to decide on security, governance, business logic, and production readiness. These part still human will be. Still we need a developer for this part, right? And why this matters for enterprises? So earlier developers used to spend hours and hours writing the same repetitive logic, but now developers can focus on innovation and real business problems, while AI agents can handle these execution heavy engineering tasks, which are very repetitive, right? And this will be the beginning of AI assisted software engineering. Now, what do I mean by transitioning to UiPath, right? So now imagine combining these coding agents with enterprise automation. That's exactly where UiPath coding agents come into the picture, right? So like using AI agents for automation, using natural language for orchestration, and in future with simple natural language you may do all these things without a developer effort. So that's it for today. Thank you for joining us. If you found this video helpful, be sure to hit that like button and subscribe to our channel for more exciting UiPath content.